I'm going to talk in a different voice for half of my sentence. I'm holding a grenade! We have started. Welcome everyone to OCHATO, the fortnightly podcast where we drink tea and review manga. I am Oliver.
Hi, I'm Suellen.
And I am Jade.
Every 2 weeks, we pick a manga that one of us has recommended, and we read up to a certain chapter and discuss that manga with a megaton of spoilers. This week, we are reading Purple Hyacinth by Ephemerys Sophiusm. We're reading up to chapter 28. This was recommended by me. But before diving in, we must know the answer to the most important question. What is everyone drinking?
White tea, of course.
Tea, good. I'd hope so, but of which type?
I think I drank that last episode, but quick a nighttime. Yeah,
I've got to get me some of that.
Yeah, this time I actually looked up what's in there. I think it's lime flower, lavender, and I want to say oat flowers. I think. But yeah,
that sounds amazing.
What about you, Jade?
I am. Oh, hi, Ollie's mum.
Say hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
Oh my god, she's so amazing. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, I want a biscuit now. Yeah, I am drinking some unidentified tea that I found in the cupboard.
Wait, who's it unidentified you by? You?
Me, because it doesn't have, you know, like those Twinings packets, those gold shiny ones. So it was in there. It's got undertones of chamomile, so I think it might be chamomile. But basically, the previous tenant left a lot of stuff. So like dried stuff, like he left a huge tub of rice. And nice. A huge tub of pasta and spaghetti. So I've been steadily going through that.
But would you not hope that chamomile would also have, you know, like overtones of chamomile and in fact be chamomile?
You know what, Ollie, I really didn't think of that, but you are absolutely correct. I was hoping for a kick of ginger, but it's got the chamomile undertones and the chamomile overtones.
Nice.
So this is the point where people click off the video.
Yeah.
Tea talk.
This is what we're here for, Ellen.
Yeah.
What about you, Oliver? What are you drinking?
I've got the English breakfast. I wish I hadn't gone with decaf now, as I'm like dead in my seat. But there we go. It is what it is.
At least you'll have a good night's sleep, though.
That I will. Cool. So we've been reading Purple Hyacinth, which was originally founded in June the 18th, or the 18th of June, if you live in the UK like us, 2018. It's on Webtoon, so you can actually read it for free if you want. There's some good music that comes with it too. Would recommend. What were your first impressions?
Right, so I actually saw this title when it first came out. I think I can't remember, I was on Webtoon for a bit, and yeah, the art and the story really grabbed me. But after reading the prologue, I think my first impression back then, even now actually, was it looks quite intense. It seems very action packed and very 400 IQ conspiracy theory, that sort of stuff. So that was my impression of it, which was still correct. I still stand by it, but of course, it's not all, serious tone. The tone is not just, serious. There's, it's weaved with a lot of funny gags. But yeah, overall, it seems quite intense, so I put it off for a while, and I didn't read it until Ollie suggested it.
Nice. What about you, Jade?
So for me, I think I only really use Webtoon to read Lore Olympus, if any of you have read that. But yeah, apart from that, I see a lot of other titles, and I did see Purple Hyacinth. But yeah, I think I had the same impression as Suellen. It was a bit intense, and I think I really love the music that goes with it. It's very sort of in the moment, and it encapsulates the feelings and emotions quite well of what's happening. I feel like, as for a first impression, the beginning of Purple Hyacinth didn't grab me as much, but I kept reading and it got like slightly better for me. So it was like, I think I just got a bit confused, really, because I don't know if it's just me not picking up on details, but I didn't realize that the bits in red were her detection of like non-truths. And I thought, oh, like, why is this in red? Are they speaking with a different voice, maybe, perhaps? But
that would have been great, just imagining them doing it in like, I'm going to talk in a different voice for half of my sentence. I'm holding a grenade.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was a very interesting idea, and I know the kind of trope of people on opposing sides. Ollie's choking.
Oh no, sorry.
Can I give like a virtual Heimlich or anything?
Yes, yeah.
I'll pat the back of my laptop
Don't
screen.
Drink tea and breathe, people. They do not mix.
ASMR.
Yeah, so that was my first impression. What about you, Oliver?
Honestly, pretty similar. It's got a very intense start with there's this cool bit where it's like, what if you knew? And then there's a gun shooting, and then it like, as you scroll down, there's like a bullet that you follow, which I thought was dope. It was so cool. And it is admittedly a little over the top, especially at first. The first, like, maybe 3 chapters are very on the nose, which, fine, it pretty much sells what you're going to be getting into. And that's partly what drew me in, actually, because we've been reading a lot of stuff like, I think I picked this up around the time we did Princess Jellyfish, maybe a little earlier. And we'd been reading some fairly cutesy stuff, which was nice, but I wanted something a bit more intense. Cue Purple Hyacinth. I mean, I suppose it's probably first worth talking about the art itself, because in my opinion, it's goddamn gorgeous. They've got a few particular effects that they use really well, like depth of field. So you'll have quite a few scenes where, for example, there's a character in detail, and then the background is blurred, not faded. And I thought that worked really well, especially with their color work. Did anything really stand out to you guys?
Well, for me, it's like I really enjoy the character design, I guess. Like, yeah, I think, what do I want to say? Yeah, they're all very sort of distinguished from each other, and they all sort of, yeah, I just love the character design. But I think the thing that stood out to me is not that, it's the paneling, like the way they sort of make use of the scrolling, like you said.
Yes.
With the bullet, right? I think for me, one particular episode stood out from the rest is I think it's episode 25 when they were talking about William, right? The main character. What's her name again? Lauren. Yeah, Lauren and William. Like the first bit when they sort of utilized the flashbacks, when they did like the parallel where it's like one side is them fighting, capturing a criminal in real time, and one is like when they were training for the exact sort of combination, their routine of how to sort of kick the gun, etc. It looked really cool. The way they sort of slice the page, sort of like where they're doing the exact movements, and that episode, yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then even further on the episode, it surprised me one more time when William was talking about like refusing to talk about his sharing his problems with Lauren, when they did this thing where you see different stages, William at different age, when he's like, I will handle it, or something. Like I had chills like down my back when I like saw that. I was like, oh my god. Like, so yeah, I thought like they were really creative with the way they tell their story visually, which is really vague statement, but just the way they panel everything out, showing sort of flashbacks and current events as well. So,
is this our first like webtoon, as it were?
Yeah.
I think, Yeah, I believe.
The key difference from your regular manga being that rather than distinct pages that you could flip through as per a book, it's done as one big long column, which I think inspires a lot of creativity in the way people do these. You'll see in manga occasionally, I know One Piece had this quite a bit before, where somebody, let's say they're doing a big punch, they'll literally punch somebody out of the frame, or their fist will be out of the frame or something, which is really nice. And you tend to see that a lot more in these single column comics, mangas, manhwas, etc., which I dig. I really like it. You see it in even episode 1 of Purple Hyacinth, where you're scrolling down and like following this bullet path, which honestly was what sold me right at the start.
I thought that the design of the characters' personalities was great. This isn't like related to artwork, I know, but like, I really love that there's the juxtaposition of Kim and I think it's Oliver, the blonde-haired person.
William.
Okay. It's not because I'm looking at you, Ollie. I swear.
There is an Oliver, but it is not William.
Okay, it's not William, but okay, got you. Very big distinction. And I thought the artwork was, pretty amazing. I can tell that they put a lot of time and effort into making this, and I can see that they're really skilled. And I appreciate the details, but I kind of wished there was a bit more variation in some character designs. So I don't know. I think I found a lot of the characters very kind of pointy.
Yeah, I was going to say they've all got these ridiculously defined chins. There's an ongoing joke actually between the artist and the author. I think I can't remember who is who, but one of Ephemerys or Sophiusm is the artist, and the police chief, they just can't draw him as human. He is just lines. Like you just do one line vertically down for like the side of his chin, and then one at like 120-degree angle, and that's all you need for his jawline.
Amazing. So I kind of wished that there was more variation, and I think the only character that I thought was very distinct was the butler, who looked a bit like Nigel Thornberry from
I forgot about the butler.
The Wild Thornberries.
Yeah, I guess I agree in a way they all look kind of samey apart from the haircut, but I think the main guy, Kieran?
Yep, Kieran.
Yeah, I think he's sort of, because I guess he's like the male protagonist, he's like slightly different, a lot more detail.
One thing I love about Webtoon is that you can see people's comments after you finish the chapter. So many people are like lusting after Kieran.
Have you seen that jawline? Who wouldn't?
I also love the author's comments at the end, like the author and the artist, they will put little jokes.
Yeah, they have a motto that they stick, or a mantra almost, that they stick at the end of each chapter, which is let's make it spicy. And spicy it is. Some of the art works really well for that, but we've talked a bit about the characters. Should we talk about them in proper? So we've got Lauren Sinclair, who's kind of our main protagonist. She's our red-haired police officer. I'm going to mention their hair color for each of them because it's their defining feature. She can also detect lies, which obviously is great for a police officer. We've got Kieran, who has what color hair? Black, I guess, but with the steely blue eyes and the ridiculous jawline. He is the Purple Hyacinth, which is a twist, definitely, near the start, but there we go. We got Kim, she has kind of the blue hair, and she's one of the two like main police buddies. And she's in particular buddies with William, who's our blonde guy. So William, Kim, and Lauren all work in the same police department, trying to solve mysteries. And Kieran White is probably the cause of most of those mysteries. I personally quite liked the characters in general, especially when you get the stronger personalities kind of clashing. For example, Lauren and Kieran. But for me, the highlight was actually Kim. Her like lightheartedness while in the office, and her just general like teasing of everybody around the office. I really, really, really was digging.
Yeah.
Did any of you have a favorite?
She acts as kind of like a comic relief, but behind the clown makeup, it's full of cracks and sadness and tear-filled mysteries that we have yet to uncover.
Welcome to drama.
I mean, for me, I don't think I have a favorite character. I mean, I'm intrigued by all of them. Like, that's not, because I want to know all of their sort of dark backstories. Like, I can see myself definitely binging through like all of the episodes. I mean, I haven't done yet, but I probably will in the future. Especially, I want to know what's up with the pocket watch of Kim's, and maybe William will finally open up. Who knows? Because you definitely see that it's affected him quite a lot. Like, but he's not willing to ask for help. And then we get the two main protag. Very, very tropey, very enemies to lover tropey.
Yeah, very.
I was like, yep, I see. This is what we're doing. Amazing, love it. The will they, won't they? You know they will.
Yeah. A lot of the tropes you can definitely see coming with those two.
Yeah.
There's a certain section I won't mention too much about, but it's happened at like the latest release chapter, and you're like, I saw this coming from like 60 chapters away.
Oh, really?
Like at least 60 chapters, and I reckon anybody that's paying attention will too. Not that it's a bad, like, it's a trope for a reason, and it is used effectively, but you can definitely see it coming.
Yeah, I thought that was like well done to the characters, where like instead of they're just one, like, I know the main story is to do with Lauren, right? I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, Lauren and Kieran, but they like to sort of actually put in the effort and develop the so-and-so supporting characters as well, which I liked. I guess they'll have to, because you gotta have something that's gotta take a break from the intensity of the main plot, but also I guess like the B plots are also equally intense if we do dive in, because everyone's got some sort of secret that they're keeping, which is interesting. Definitely like what sort of grips the reader.
It's true. I tend to think that actually the only one that probably doesn't have a weird and dark and convoluted past is that really moody police officer.
Yeah.
I think it's Lucas.
You never know.
Nah, he's gonna be totally normal, just a bit sleep deprived. There's gonna be a chapter where he turns up and he's had like a proper night's sleep and he's very normal and everybody finds it weird. I'm calling
like
it now.
Shirogane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Shirogane has that in Kaguya, doesn't he?
Yeah. Did any of you get butterflies from any Kieran, Lauren moments?
Ooh, I think I'm like, because I'm so used to seeing like the will they, won't they between like characters. I think I'm just quite numb at this point. I'm like, I've seen this rodeo. I'm it's not my first rodeo, but but I love it. I love every second of the flirting and the teasing, and the bit where like I think Lauren was when she was under disguise of a very, very sexy lady merchant, right? And yeah, when she suddenly saw their mark or the target, and like there were her and like Karen's face was like 0.5 millimeters close. I was like, ooh, it's getting hot in here.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, I actually really like the bit where Kieran like kills somebody that's about to get Lauren, and they're both just like covered in blood. I thought the art there was absolutely phenomenal, and the way that they draw the kind of shocked expressions works really well for the art style. So that was maybe not the kind of butterflies you were thinking of, but that was my favorite moment between them.
Yeah, they've got good chemistry.
Did you have a favorite chemistry moment?
Oh, I love the chemistry. No, never mind. I think it was more like just a quick moment when Kieran sort of scoops Lauren up because she's about to like go for someone. I can't remember. I read this ages ago, but
interrogating that guy, and she found that picture, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that as well. Oh, so many mysteries. I love it. They do suspense thing very effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. And with like the effects in the drawings as well. Like coming back to what you were saying earlier, Ollie, about the sort of out of focus backgrounds, it's very much sort of like, you know, in a movie when you've got like the kind of the shift in focus. Yeah, it was very reminiscent of that, and also the music kind of is very, very film-like at times, I find.
That's what I love about Webtoon. Like, that they have that functionality of adding soundtrack. Like, whoever thought of that? Like,
so effective.
Yeah.
That, for me, that's one of the big advantages of these kind of web comics, and to some extent that anime has over manga. Not that I don't obviously love manga, but I really, really like the effect that music has on media. And I think that having the right music to fit a scene can only improve the scene.
Yeah.
And you know, if you've got your plot that's been leading up to this moment, and the art's perfect, and you spent, you know, ages and ages drawing it, and it looks great, and it's all dramatic and everything, adding some good music on top of that is just so good. And in general, I think it's pretty good in Purple Hyacinth. There's a couple of songs that are maybe a little, again, on the nose. There's like a morning song, which is exactly what you'd expect from a morning song.
It's a Clear the Loon, like it's almost.
Yeah. There's a few that you're like, I know this song almost, but I do think what they've done with the music works really well.
What does the morning tune sound like?
It's like somebody like gently playing on the piano with almost bird sounds in the background.
Ah, okay.
You know Debussy?
Yeah.
Oh, Debussy, yeah.
What is it? The really famous, like the Moon song.
Moonlight Sonata.
No. Clair de Lune.
Yeah, it's like almost that every time. Like, but it doesn't quite get to like, because they don't want to actually rip off the music. But yeah, is that the morning song that you're referring to?
Yeah, I think so. For me, actually, the favorite piece was, I have a feeling it's chapter 30, so we can't talk about what happens during it. But there's this kind of creepy piece that I was so sold on. It worked really well. So we've talked a little bit about the artwork and the characters, and we've kind of, excuse me, inhaling that tea earlier was not good. We've talked a little bit about the plot. For me, I find with many of these drama, mystery, comics, shows, plot lines in general, you need a certain amount of answers for it to be engaging over an extended period of time. Because if you set up all these mysteries and then never answer them, you know, for example, imagine we'd read The Promised Neverland, right, and you never get answers at the end. Like, you would not be happy. And I did like that we do start to get answers to many of the questions that you have. There's still some later on that I have, but a lot of the things they tease earlier are actually answered, which is why I stuck with it. I did find, however, that a lot of the plot kind of merged into one big fat mystery and just tangled web. For example, if you asked me to tell you what happened in like chapter 25 compared to 45, I probably couldn't tell you, but I could tell you like the key points of what's happened all the way through. Did anything like particularly stand out to you with the plot, or was it all? Did you find it predictable, for example?
I guess like maybe this is just my opinion, but at 29, I feel like there's still not many answers, right? the two main characters are still just chasing down, trying to get closer to the phantom scythe, right? And I guess that right now there's just a lot of loose threads. I don't remember there's any key points, and there's still a process of developing the characters and showing us what their like sort of the drive is. So I guess at one point that I guess it's like a twist, when Lawrence like freaks out at the photograph that he found on this one guy's in this one guy's notebook. And at first I had like so many possibilities, like, oh, it could be the kid for some reason, that her childhood friend that went missing, or even is her uncle or the chief of police, and it turns out is that case is the culprit from the case that got her sort of thrown off the investigation unit. So that was surprising, and just loved the suspense there, and it made me want to sort of read on even more. So that was that's what like the highlight for me in terms of like plot, I guess. What about you, Jade?
I think for me, I started getting a bit frustrated with the sort of what happened that night of like the train kind of incident, because I felt like they kept on showing us like snippets of what happened, but I felt like every time they showed us the incident, I didn't think there was anything really kind of new. It was more like just the kind of same flashback, which is like, it's a flashback. It's not supposed to be sort of like, nothing new is supposed to come of it. But I thought as more and more pieces fall into place, I thought something else might have been revealed, or maybe like another character sort of is musing away or something, or like just in the shadows or something, just anything. But other than that, I thought that the plot was I thought it was predictable, and along with Lauren and Kieran's partnership, it was very sort of, now they're going to do this and now they're going to do this. But I did find that some bits were very suspenseful. For example, when the police officers just kind of like came to where they were interrogating the person, and they sort of like had to go like ASAP before they got caught. So yeah.
Do you reckon they could have maybe introduced some more characters to make it less predictable, or fleshed out the side characters more? Or do you think they could have done differently?
I think maybe a combination of both. I think more of fleshing out the side characters than adding new characters, because I feel like we already have a lot of characters, and I feel like there are going to be more characters to come as Kieran and Lauren inevitably meet more people and find out the connections in this network. But I feel like so I kind of wished that we knew more about William, because I feel like he was somehow involved in the incident as well, because maybe he knew about it or something, or maybe that was implied at the beginning and I just inferred something. But I kind of wish they were more fleshed out.
I do agree definitely with regards to William and Kim. They clearly have some level of history, not with each other, but on their own. And it would have been really nice to see, especially at that point in the story, just have a bit more background. So rather than them being like the people in the office, each with like personality A, B, C, they get an extra dimension or two. And while they do kind of react in different ways, and they do behave consistently with how their character has been set up to that point, it would have been nice to get a bit more depth.
I feel like in the sense of it, I mean, because I only read 29, so my feeling was that because we're only just starting to get these snippets of, oh, there's more to their history. Like, so I didn't really expect for them to be fully fleshed out just yet anyway. So I don't know, because Ollie, you've read like most of it. So do we get some sort of resolution, or is it still being?
We do indeed get answers to many of the questions that are raised in the earlier chapters. So, for example, William and Kim do get fleshed out more, though even at the point I'm at, I would like more. I find them really interesting. Similarly, that train flashback, we do get kind of the full story of Lauren's experience of that later, which you would be expecting anyway. I think that they could perhaps have been a little faster with it. There's a lot of kind of side stuff, it feels like, where it is relevant to the main case, but it's not maybe immediately obvious why it's relevant to the main case until, for example, they're there and then they find a clue that links it in. I might have liked a bit more context there, but yes, we do get answers to many of the questions that are raised.
Yeah, you know what? When I first saw the lady and her butler, that whole episode, I genuinely thought, I mean, maybe it is like still a filler, but I was like, wow, we're getting a filler episode?
Yeah.
Or yeah, I thought that was nice that they brought it back immediately in the next chapter. I was like, oh, there is some sort of, risk there. But then, I don't know if it's gonna happen again next time, but hey, who knows? But I thought that was quite funny that they popped up again.
Yeah.
And I think even the artists, they kind of foreshadow the character with the butler face, because I when I was reading it, I was like, that looks so familiar. But I think one of the, let's make a spicy sort of drawings, I think they replace their faces with the butler and I think the lady. You can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure I saw this. I was like, wow, this is a bit random. But then 10 episodes later, they're actually characters. I was like, wait, they look familiar. Where have I seen them?
Yeah, I've actually been supporting them on Patreon, so I get some of the sneak peek pictures as well, and it's fun seeing how they have these jokes going on in the background that kind of slowly filter their way into the episodes, like with the butler.
That's so cool.
I love the dialogues. I guess, you can tell it's they're internet people. I don't know how to put it, but it's like, yeah, I feel like if you look from 50 years time and looking back on this comic, some of the jokes you can tell which era it's from.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite relevant now, the things that they sort of reference, right? But I love it. And I love sorry, I'm just going on the rant here. I just remember even though the character design, I guess, is like nothing new, but it's like I love the expressions, like the Lauren's like the lion eyes where she's like ugh, like
yeah. I agree with you there. I actually think both the serious and the comedy expressions are some of the strongest bits of the webtoon. Yeah. There are some looks that characters do that work so well, be it the comedy ones, the little funny moments, or the bits where they're like, oh, I'm about to be caught, or the really serious bits where somebody's like covered in blood and they're like, how could you do this? And all of those interactions and those expressions, I think, are the main strength of Purple Hyacinth. Do you have any further thoughts?
Do I have a bone to pick with them? No, I guess like it's normal that we see this, like they have these shenanigans when they're trying to figure out how to communicate each other while pretending that they're two men when they're like investigating people. I feel like they could have planned this. I don't know if this is like just my problem with the characters themselves doing it, or do I have a problem with the authors writing them that way? I think I'm just like, mate, like you gotta plan better. At first, like, I'm gonna show my face, and then like, oh, you have to, tell the police we're both men. But then afterwards, they're like, oh, we're gonna cover it. But then like Lauren completely threw that out the window by like lifting the blindfold. But yeah, I'm just like, I guess is that just, you know, they're still new, they're trying to figure things out, or like using like sign language when they're like, not sign language, sorry, just like gestures saying like, no, this is when he's lying, and then they're like being like, no, they were right about the first part, but they were lying the second part.
I really like that little sequence when they were trying to work out what was up together, and you get it's kind of the mix of the seriousness of what they're trying to do versus the comedy aspect of them trying to just bumble their way through it.
And I think the music just added to that, when it's like peppy like piano, when they were like, what do you mean? He was like, wow, the sign like gesture better, and they were like, how was I supposed to know? Like,
it was.
But then again, I'm like, how did they know what they were talking about when they're just waving their arms around? And then the blindfolded guy just have wind going through his ears, like, that's my thing. I forgot to comment.
And I think adding to that, I really like how the music changes throughout the episode.
It's a good feature, and it works well for the mood changes. It means you're not stuck on like one mood per chapter. I wonder how they kind of code that, or how they do that, like how it flows so seamlessly. You have from what I can tell, you've got like sections of your comic that have a certain track on them, which then pretty much always fades in, it seems like. Okay. I know this because I was trying to read it backwards.
Oh, really?
Okay, because like I feel like for some people, if they read this at lightning fast speeds, and
there's one particular episode, I think maybe you're referring to that one, where it's Kim shooting, right? And then everything sound, and I scrolled too fast, and then everything went out of sync while I'm reading, so I have to scroll back up a little bit just to be sync with her. Because I was like, wait, she's looking at her watch, she's not shooting anymore. Wait, let's go back. I guess like they should. I guess it's hard. Like, I don't know what the limit of the system is, right? Like how accurate they can like pin it. But I guess I feel like with this series, I feel like they could done more fade outs. I think because sometimes, a lot of the times, the music just suddenly cuts off. I guess I'm just being nitpicky here, but like I feel like, I don't know if they have that feature. They probably do, but maybe they didn't put it in, or it wasn't needed. But sometimes it cuts off.
Maybe for such a cool feature, it would be nice to be as polished as possible.
Yeah. God, man, Webtoon, game changer.
So we do have a section in this podcast where we grab the main character or characters from the previous manga and stick them into this one. So in this case, it's Delicious in Dungeon, which is quite the mix-up. So we've got our lovely group of dungeon chefs moving into a crime noir world set in, I don't know, I always felt like it was Britain, or like, England in like whenever top hats were fashionable. How do you reckon they'd fare? Wow, I see both of you doing beard strokes.
Because I completely forgot about this, and I'm just like, wow, something as like lighthearted as Delicious in Dungeon, like these specific characters going into Purple Hyacinth. I just can't like.
It's quite the genre mix up, isn't it?
I mean, I guess Laos is already in it. Like he's basically Willy.
It's true.
They look exactly the same, but I think they'll be the Kim type, right? Maybe. I don't know. I can't.
They'd struggle to cook, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, no monsters around.
Yeah.
You can't really cook humans.
Maybe they are the monsters.
That's not a road I want to go down. oh my god, imagine there's just like these psychopathic like cannibals or like Laos is like the enthusiast, and then like what's her name? I did forgot her name. Marcel being roped into it, and it's all so messed up.
I mean, that's one way to defeat the Phantom Scythe.
Oh no!
Or eat them. That would be quite the way of bringing them into the genre, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be. Then we'd go from like drama / mystery to like mystery / horror. I think.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? Instead of like a cooking, I think if you just bring the characters and they're like a police force, they will be like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
They'd work beautifully as a police force. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Instead of like chasing monsters, it's like they're chasing different types of criminals, maybe? I don't know. And like, I don't know, this is weird.
I could
feel
see
like
it working.
I don't know if that tone, the seriousness of like Purple Hyacinth suits them, the characters. But I think they'll do well, I guess. But I just don't see them as, they'll probably be like comic relief or just getting in the way of Lauren and Kira.
Yeah, I could see them getting in the way a lot.
Yeah.
It's a tough match.
Yeah.
Cool. So do we have any final thoughts on this, on Purple Hyacinth?
My final thoughts is that I really enjoyed reading it. I love the gags. I'm very intrigued by all the loose threads that they're throwing at us. All the teasing and the won't they, will they, and all the amazing soundtracks I have yet to experience. So I would recommend to those who are looking for sort of like an action mystery thriller, who sort of, who takes itself seriously but also doesn't take itself too seriously. So I would recommend it to anyone. I think anyone could get something out of it, right? Like, it's quite appealing to the masses. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think my final thoughts on this would be I love that they kind of go into the trope with a sort of different way of going about it, with the music and like the art and the plot and the settings and everything, which beautifully done. I loved the city scenes and the kind of chasing as well. I would recommend this to just anyone who likes sort of crime, detectives, kind of like a semi-supernatural, like with the kind of seeing lies kind of thing. And I feel like for anyone who hasn't read something on Webtoon before, I think this is a good starting series as well for them.
I agree. Just to add on your last point there, it's quite different to a lot of the way that manga that we've been reading so far are laid out. And I think it's definitely worth having a go if you want to see what Webtoons and kind of single column comics have to offer.
Oh, yeah, like, it's so creative.
Okay, so next time, what are we looking at?
Next time we will be reading Nana, which you can find on Viz, and we are reading up to chapter 24. And just to give you a sort of taster, it's basically describes the friendship of two girls who just happen to meet one day. I think it's set in Tokyo, and they just form a really good friendship, and it kind of details their sort of early 20s and how they go through life, and love and relationships and everything.
Jade, this sounds a lot like shoujo to me.
I think it's super shoujo. So
Nice.
Okay,
until next time.
Yes, thank you so much for listening.
See you in the next episode.
Woo. Yeah, I remembered it. Yeah.
Yay! Oh my god.